Hey guys, Farafaza is here, and I'm going to try to take this video from initiation to completion with no hiccups whatsoever, because everything is counting on this. I have to get this specific video out, and then I'm free to move on to anything else. So, without further ado, this is probably the first series. A lot of good stuff has been happening lately. I've been branching out in the games I play. I've been actually having fun in the ones that I still play. And things are just generally looking up, especially in the entertainment department, because it sounds like after all this time, Bone is getting an animated series. Looks like it's going to be on Netflix, and it has been a whole process to get this thing off the ground from what I've read into. It looks like initially it was pitched to Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was playing around though. They wanted some Britney Spears and whatnot in that. This is an old time, of course. This is like a while ago. And then in between that, there is some director mix-ups. Some people were thought to have been brought on board that ultimately just weren't interested, or just somehow the project fell through. But even the creator said last year in October that Netflix team understands Bone, and even went so far as to say that this is probably the perfect setting for Bone. So I am going to take his words with a grain of salt. I know sometimes things just aren't meant to be, but it sounds like finally this is our time. And of course, if you're not really a big Bone fan, then I would understand why you'd be a little confused for me to say our time. If you haven't read it, it's alright, but it's a really good series. I would highly recommend it. It is without a doubt one of the greatest series I read as a kid, and it should be at any library you go to, or online if that's your jam. Really, I'm just glad he decided to make sure his work was given its due, no matter how long he had to wait for it. There are some authors who won't be named for now that just don't seem as attached to their work throughout the adaptation process. It's disappointing, to say the least. Bone is a comic book series, a little bit like Narnia, with different fantastical characters like humanoid bone figures and dragons and large rat creatures and mysterious Sith-looking locust mob boss. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll find out soon enough if you decide to read it. But oh my god, this is why I waited. This is why I waited to make the video, so I can remember like cool stuff like this. There is this giant cat named Rockjaw, and he's like absolutely my favorite. He's like a Diego from Ice Age, but like cooler and bigger. Anyway, look out for him if you ever get started on that. The artwork's amazing. There's plenty of jokes, and it's a really entertaining story. At least I found it entertaining. You might have higher taste or something like that. The familiar presence of old medieval elements like taverns, monarchs, and country living gets spiced up with supernatural ingredients like ghost circles and not necessarily magic powers, but magically imbued items and secret cult societies. It's a whole lot of fun. Honestly, I should just make a book review video, but I'm too lazy. Moving on. Another thing that was cool, we got to check out a couple new animes. I always like to put a few notches in my weed carrying card just to renew the validity of it. I don't know what I'm saying. But the last ones I watched were Kaguya-sama Love is War, Is This a Zombie, and one other that I cannot... Oh, Dagashikashi. Yes. As a certain friend of mine would say, it has been a roller coaster that only goes up. And I haven't thoroughly enjoyed every episode of the past few animes I've watched. And I hope that Kaguya-sama specifically gets a sequel. I think, Is This a Zombie already got it kind of its own sequel, but it kind of fizzled out, understandably so. I mean, harem animes can only get you so far. But Dagashikashi, I think, is on its second season, which I have yet to see. I only watched the first one. Kind of lost interest toward the very, very end, but it held my attention for like the greater part of the series. They just didn't do enough with Hotaru. Like she was just like a one-dimensional saleswoman, which is fun in of itself. But maybe they should try to explore that more. Maybe that's what they'll do in the next season. Who knows? Maybe I should have read the manga. In the shinobi world, those frick, I didn't write this down. Yes. In the shinobi world, those that watch anime without subtitles are scum, but those that read ahead in the manga just to get ahead in the story are worse than scum. Alright, so next up is Artemis Fowl. Now, I know exactly how they're gonna run this guy, but for once, Disney is actually going to portray a character the way a character is meant to be portrayed. Artemis Fowl is an entitled asshole. That is his entire character development. But he is fun, he's super smart, and honestly, it's been way too long, probably too old to properly enjoy this or whatever. But I honestly can't wait to see it. It's going to be directed by Kenneth Branagh, who also led the filming of Thor, Harry Potter 2, and Will Smith's Wild Wild West. Not to mention he himself is Irish. The movie has been in the works for a while. It's coming out in May. A lot of the production team is Irish. Mick Pearson, one of the writers, is a prolific author of various plays and such. The other screenwriter is American. Okay, that's fine. Who worked on Harry Potter 5, and Green Lantern. So, the main reason why I decided to ultimately put this video out is because I got to talk about another movie that I'm looking forward to, Furious 9, which I would have voted to call it the finest of the Furies. That just makes way more sense to me than just F9. What's F9? It's not a good name, it's just a fine name. Goddamn, I went so far for that joke and still missed it. Anyway, I feel equal parts better and worse about Han still being alive. Better because Deckard, or whatever frick his name is, suddenly joining the team is just doesn't jive well with me, even though I know it was mainly because it's supposed to be Toretto and Hobbs, and since they can't work together anymore, testosterone, it had to be Hobbs and Shaw. But I am glad that he is alive, because that means that, like, you're like bringing back to life an entire like section of the fan base of people who like really identified with Han's character. They are detracting away from, what was that, 2016? The whole theme of 2016 was Han's dying. That was the big thing. Anyone named Han was dying in a big movie. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring back Han Solo, and nothing at all from back then would have mattered. Oh well, we'll see. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything else. If you just want me to say words in a specific cadence or something like that, I'll do it for you. And look forward to some more gameplays. I'm going to try. I will actually put a concerted effort into not necessarily dubbing my entire gameplays, just like taking moments and just like, just trying to have fun with it. And I just want to see how much that would appeal to you guys. So look forward to that sort of thing. I look forward to more Shinobi Striker, because I am steamrolling in there. You do not know. You do not even know. I will keep turning those out since you guys seem to eat those up like chocolate chip cookies. And not really much else to talk about. I have this one story written about Jakarta, some joke about Borneo, some nonsense or whatever. But I'm just gonna skip over that. Your fires in Australia. I'll try to find a safe donation link for you guys to use if that's something that calls out to you. It is a tough situation.